Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the second regular monthly meeting of the Mayor and Council being held in Borough Hall Tuesday, December 27th, starting at 6:31, which is a new record. Missy, could you please read the roll?
Mayor Nunziato.
Here.
Councilman Goldsack.
Here.
Councilman Leahy.
Here.
Councilman Coker.
Here.
Councilman McGowan.
Present.
Councilman Big Roberson. Councilman Guzman.
Here.
Thank you. And if you're willing and able, could you please stand for the salute to the flag? Thank you, everyone. Missy?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, notice of this meeting was transmitted to the Record and Herald News and filed with the Borough Clerk on December 13th and 30th, 2021, and is posted on the bulletin board outside of Borough Hall.
Thank you. We have no presentations. Mark, we're good? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, we'll move on to the review of changes to the agenda. Missy?
I have none.
Anybody from the council have any changes? Seeing none, we will move along to the hearing of citizens. Anybody from the public wishing to speak may come forward. No, doctor, joking. Diane, come on. Wishing to speak, please state your name and address. Keep it to 5 minutes or less, please.
Hello? Now? Now is it on? Okay. Diane Jones, 195 Wood Street. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I hope everybody has a happy and healthy and wonderful New Year. I came 2 weeks ago because I wanted to be sure to say thank you to Mark Goldsack and Tom Leahy for their 6 years of service. 6 years of service. They've been very valuable members of the council. And I hate to see them go, but time to move on. That's the way life goes on. But I'm sure that they will have new ventures that will keep them occupied and involved in the town. Now, one more thing. I don't like to end anything with a positive, so I'll come up, a negative rather, so I'll come up with a positive thing to say. But this has been bothering me for a while, and it happened twice today within 20 minutes. So I said, that's it, I have to report this. I frequently come up Chestnut Street and park down a little bit so I can run things to the library, which is a favorite place of mine, or to the post office. Invariably, I will see a car come down West Passaic and thinking they can make a left turn, cut across, and to go down Chestnut rather than staying to the right. Today, I saw two of our Rutherford maintenance trucks do that. One just almost cut me off. No, not really close, but that worries me. The sign says keep right. It does not say no left turn. And could that be something where it could be a little more obvious that they can't do that? But within 20 minutes, the two trucks made it. Now, they were working on the tree in front of the library, so there was reason for them going. But I didn't know that they had the right to disregard the rule. Now, again, I'm not trying to blame anybody, but when it happened twice today, I said, that's it, I have to mention something to this. So perhaps new consideration for that sign. And again, ending things on a positive note, I want to thank you again for all the decorations in town. They look wonderful. I think it's been a wonderful holiday. People have been very happy. So thank you for all the work that you do and all the service that you give us. Oh, congratulations to the Sheridan family.
You're stealing thunder now? Come on. Diane, we have to wait till everybody speaks and then we'll answer you know the deal. But Missy is the decorator of Christmas in Rutherford, so. Anybody else from the public? Laura?
I'll have to squat. I didn't want to make you have to get up and come all the way around here. Thank you. Laura Ninger, 54 Lincoln Avenue. And I do want to say before I start complaining, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year to everybody. But you know I'm here once again to discuss conditions next door to me at the empty lot at 50 Lincoln Avenue. There is still a garage on the property, and it is still being used for commercial storage. It used to be rented to a landscaping company, and I was told by Bill Finn, I don't know if he still works here, in 2020, that the landscapers would be moving out because the garage should not have been rented. Now it is rented to a company called Dawn Melanie Designs of Hoboken, New Jersey. The driver usually arrives in a large white truck, sometimes a van, and I am assuming it's the same company. Deliveries have become much more frequent lately, and by that I don't mean holiday weekends or weeks or whatever, but the past few months, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. We recently found the driver trying to stack extra goods outside of the garage, and when we confronted him, he said, well, it's, you know, he's renting it, so he can do whatever he wants. So the garage is not supposed to be there. How do we know this? Your borough engineers, Neglia, said so in 2020 when they issued their report saying the properties were an area in need of redevelopment. As an aside, because you know I can't resist saying this, they became a blighted area because they were allowed to become that way. But anyway, moving on. Neglia described the garage at 50 Lincoln Avenue, which is block 110, lot 7.03, as follows, and I quote, lot 7.03 is vacant with the exception of a garage with unsightly plywood doors to the rear of the property, which is an accessory structure without the principal structure. 2 sentences later, Neglia calls the structure, quote, a dilapidated, non-conforming garage. So I wondered why this can be happening, and I looked it up. Using a property for commercial purposes when it is zoned as residential is contrary to code. According to your own ordinances, section 389-12, which pertains to the R1 low-density residential district, garages that are permissible are called private garages, and they define that. A private garage is defined in the ordinances as, and I quote, a detached accessory building or portion of the main building used for the storage of motor vehicles, but not for business or profit. Not for business or profit. So why is it that someone can profit off a structure that is both non-conforming and sitting on a lot that is zoned R1? Does this mean I can rent out my own garage to a corporation and have deliveries coming by every few days so that my neighbor can hear the rumbling engine and smell the exhaust? Because if so, I have another revenue stream. I'd also like to mention that somebody from Lincoln Avenue, 50 Lincoln Avenue, sorry, has put out a large green garbage can at the curbside. It has been there for weeks. It's collecting water, and people are dumping garbage into it. That really has to be removed. I would remove it, but technically it's not my property, so I guess I can't. To summarize, I've never stopped wondering why the property manager can do whatever he wants. He also uses 42 Lincoln Avenue for commercial purposes in violation of code, as I have discussed here many times. He got you folks to cut down a perfectly healthy oak tree at the sidewalk at 50 Lincoln, which I was told was done for safety or aesthetic reasons. It was neither, because that tree was no more threat than any 15 or 20 other sycamore trees up and down my block. But it's gone now because he wanted it gone. So it's gone. I'm not trying to interfere with this person's ability to make money or help in the town and all of that. I just would like the ordinances assessed equally on all people. So I know that you will listen politely as you are, as you always do, and will politely respond. But more important, please enforce the ordinances and/or explain to me why somebody can use that garage, which is not supposed to be there, for profit. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? No, Mr. Zor, but you still never want to get to that front seat. We will have to start the clock when you get up if you keep doing this.
Okay, but actually, the real front seat is the one you all are occupying, so maybe when that day comes. Anyway, Adam Zora, 94 Vreeland. There are two of the resolutions on tonight's agenda actually should be tabled for further review. The first one is Resolution 236 that would approve the issuance of a liquor license to a restaurant owned by a West Coast conglomerate that has confirmed to me that they have less than one-half of the required 125 seats that are specified under the ordinance that's up for second read tonight. Interestingly, or maybe or not, when I Googled all of this business, I found that when I was looking into the conglomerate, Google showed that the restaurant's name was actually the title of a 2013 Italian crime drama. So, now, as I say, interestingly, I don't know. Anyway, the second is the resolution number 234, which is set for to outsource irrigation services to Make and Company. Now, as I said to you all at the last meeting, it's not about Make's qualifications or his pricing, or even the fact that $8,000 of the $12,000 that were billed in 2022 actually applied to services that were rendered in 2021. But as you probably all are aware, as things stand, the borough spends hundreds of thousands of dollars each year to stand up a full-time crew of groundspeople that are actually limited to cutting grass and planting annual flowers. All the other borough services for landscaping are being outsourced, from the irrigation that I mentioned to seeding, fertilizing, liming, and even tree planting. And since they're all being outsourced, it seems that adding grass and annuals to that list could save the borough at least 4 to 5 months of annual off-season salaries and wages. I'm not saying you should fire the crew. I'm just saying that's the way things could balance out. Now, early winter is actually the perfect time to be able to sit down and actually do a cost analysis to determine whether full-time in-house landscaping services should be done by the borough or outsourced to a landscaper. And I think that knowing that would be in the best interest of the borough and the borough taxpayers anyway, because if we're out of balance, that we really need to do something different. Of course, the easiest solution is to take away these outside contracts and just let the grounds crew do all of that work, which they're certainly capable of doing, which is what I mentioned, part of what I mentioned last week. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Zura. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Mike? I just wanted to make sure you guys had the time and everybody was here. I saw more people coming in, that's all.
How's that? Does that work? Can you hear me? All right. I want to thank Mayor Nunziato and Borough Council
Sorry, can
for
you just say
giving me
your,
a chance to speak
Mike?
briefly. I'm sorry.
Name and address.
Name and address. Michael Sheridan, 322 Carmita Avenue, Rutherford. So again, thank you everybody for the opportunity to speak. It's an honor to speak on behalf of the Borough Resolution naming the field at Tamlin Park Sheridan Field in honor of my father, the late Philip Sheridan Sr. Philip was a proud, lifelong resident of Rutherford who lived almost his entire life at 32, I'm sorry, That's my address. 235 Donaldson, right next door. A three-sport athlete at St. Mary's High School, Philip was selected to the New Jersey All-State football team and earned a scholarship to the University of Notre Dame, where he played football under the famed coach Elmer Layden, one of the Four Horsemen. In the midst of his senior year, December 8, 1941, the day after the devastating attack of Pearl Harbor, Philip enlisted in the U.S. Navy. As a combat pilot and patrol commander, my father flew dozens of dangerous missions in the South Pacific in the early years of World War II. He was awarded the Presidential Citation and the Distinguished Air Medal for his service. As a decorated officer, he continued serving the country by training Navy pilots in Jacksonville, Florida, before returning to Rutherford with his wife and son, Philip Jr. Mom and Dad raised 8 children, ultimately 26 grandchildren, many great-grandchildren, nearly 20 still reside in Rutherford today. Always a dedicated Rutherfordian. Dad actually was a Little League president back in the late 50s and was also active in the community throughout the 60s and 70s. Philip Sheridan Sr. brought pride and honor to the town of Rutherford. He represents a model of integrity and leadership that merits the naming of the field at Tamlin Park in his honor. I thank you for this consideration. Have a great evening.
Thank you, sir. Now, if anybody else from the public has nothing to add, we're going to close it to the public and open up for council comment. Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Jones, Dr. Jones, my apologies. Thank you so much for coming back after Tom and I had missed the last meeting to share your well wishes. It's truly appreciated. 6 years serving the borough, it's been quite a journey. Some of it has been challenging.
Don't forget you were mayor.
Some of it definitely had been challenging, but for every person that we had the opportunity to help and was truly grateful for that, it made every challenging moment well worth it. So thank you for taking the time to come and offer us your well wishes. And I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors with this borough, because we know you're not done. Thank you. I'll speak up.
Okay. Anybody else from the council wishing to speak? Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. To Dr. Jones's point, I just want to take a moment to thank Councilman Malahi and Councilman Goldsack for their time and gifts over my 2 years here, but more importantly for the 6 years as I've been a resident for that entire time. What I've learned in the last 2 years on the job is that it is not an easy thing to do, to put yourself forth and give and donate. But the fact that you two gentlemen continue to has been an inspiration to me, and I thank you for sharing your experience, your knowledge, and your patience with me as I grew to learn this role and how it works. I commend you in everything that you've done, the way you've handled yourselves in the face of some really severe criticism at times, and I just want to say I appreciate you both, and you'll be sorely missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Anybody else? Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to address quickly the comment, Mr. Zora, regarding the liquor licenses. It's my understanding that what you are citing was prior to an amendment that was made. That was when we were dealing with the hotel. And so it was amended thereafter, specifically for what we're now doing with the downtown. And so any other further questions with that, I'll defer to the attorneys, but that's my understanding regarding that amendment. Ms. Jones, thank you for your kind wishes, as always, for your beautiful letter that we look forward to every single year. And thank you for making us aware of the issue that you saw specific to Chestnut Street. And obviously, Chief is here and has made no doubt of the comment that you've made. And I believe that's all I have to comment on tonight. Thank you. Oh, and I'll reserve my other comments for my report. Thank you.
He's smiling, so Councilman Guzman?
I'll reserve my comments during my committee reports. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If nobody has any comments, let me start with Laura. Oh, sorry, Tom.
No problem, thank you, Mayor.
Usually we go in order. You're senior, so you, I'm sorry.
No problem at all. I get the hint. I'll be quick, but Ms. Jones, thank you for your kind words as always. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. First met you coaching kindergarten soccer when Gianna was on my team, so it was great to get to know you and your family, and really happy with all that you do for the town, and I've always admired all your time that you've put into public service. So thank you for all that you do as well, and I hope I still get the Christmas and Valentine's Day letters because they're always very interesting. Coach Sheridan, thank you for the great story about your dad. Certainly sounds like a tremendous man, and I wish I had the opportunity to meet him. But thank you, for sharing all of that tonight. And Matt, thank you for your kind words as well. It's been a pleasure, working with you and getting to know you up here and seeing you really become a great council person. So, thank you, and that's all I've got, Mayor.
Once again, my apologies, but I know you guys aren't going away, so I'm stuck with you guys forever. So, Laura, I really appreciate you telling me that this new company is from Hoboken, which is the new property owner of that facility. So I will absolutely have that looked into. I didn't know anything about it, but I appreciate you bringing that forward. The gentleman who bought that property is from Hoboken, so we will absolutely look into this and deal with it. Diane, I appreciate you, as does this council, for the time you served and continue to serve on the Board of Education. You understand what we're doing, and it means a lot that, I was like, what are you going to say, Bob? We do appreciate you as just as much as you appreciate us. But thank you very much for your kind words. So again, Laura, this means a lot that you brought this to my attention. I appreciate that you came to express that. Thank you again. I have nothing else to share at this time. We'll readdress yours after Mark. All right, so Missy, we're going to move on to Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. First, we have the approval of the regular meeting minutes of December 12th, 2022. Councilman Goldsack and Malahy were absent. Motion.
Motion by Council President. May I have a second?
Second?
Second by Council McGowan. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes. Sorry, abstain.
Councilman Malahy?
Abstain.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have resolution number 245. This is naming the football field at Tamblin Memorial Park, Sheridan Field at Tamblin Memorial Park. Motion.
Motion by Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council Malahy. Any questions or comments by the council? Well, we knew this was coming, Mark. We'll let the councilman go first.
Ooh, me? Okay. Thank you.
Councilwoman. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank the Sheridan family for the beautiful speech tonight, and to put on the record why this is being considered, and really to just remind the residents of this borough how fortunate we are that we have a long history and legacy of members of this community and families that have been here for generations that really have, more than just lived here. They are the fabric of what all of our families and our children are the beneficiary of. And so thank you. Thank you for sharing that beautiful story. And I think you for you and your family for bringing this to us tonight. I think it's an honor to have this as a consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the council accept him? Okay, Mark.
Rough crowd, man. First, thank you, Mayor Nunziato, my council colleagues, Borough Administrator Bob. Really appreciate you allowing me to bring this forward tonight to honor this great man who I unfortunately did not have the opportunity to meet. In moving to Rutherford and having the great fortune of becoming a part of this amazing family, you hear about those families that are the fabric of a community, the fabric of the history of a community. Nunziatos are one of those families. The Sheridans were one of those families. Mr. Your family, one of those families that, my in-laws and all of the folks sitting here used to tell me stories about. And I think that one of the reasons, or one of the things I wanted to accomplish when I decided to run was not only help to see this town move forward to the future, but also to preserve its past and respect its past. And I think in doing this, respects a huge part of this town's past and preserves the family name of a truly great Rutherford family. And we've had this conversation about, you think Sheridans, you think of St. Mary. I said, well, that's not the whole story, right? The story is about a great Rutherford couple who settled here, who raised a beautiful family in this town, and who has great-grandchildren who have been lucky enough to play on the same fields as all of these family members have through generations. And I think this is a great testament to not only a great man, but truly a great family who I'm absolutely honored to be a part of. My man Connor right there. So thank you, all of you, for taking the time and considering this tonight, and thank all of you for all of the support you've provided me over the past 6 years, because you've truly been my beacon, you've kept me grounded, and you've always made me think of why I did what I did and why I'm sitting up here, because it's not only about the future, it really is about the past. So thank you all. I really appreciate it.
So before we move on, I'll make a couple comments. Yes, I am part of this community. Yes, my family's been here forever, too. And yes, I went to St. Mary's. And the Sheridan family was the beacon at St. Mary's. Everybody learned a lot. Everybody got, even the priest and Father Bagley always talked about the Sheridan family, but while he was breaking my knuckles. But yes, I think this is a great honor for our community. I would like to see that gate finally open since I was 5 and have a beautiful dedication for a beautiful family. So I appreciate your family and their dedication to our service to this country, service to this community. Thank you, and I appreciate all that you guys have done for our community. Thank you. Missy?
Councilman Goldsack?
I'm going to abstain because I know we have the support for this, and it is obviously there's a self-interest here. So I mean, no disrespect in abstaining. I'm just doing the right thing as a councilman. So I
As a coward, yeah, we're good.
respectfully abstain.
Moving on.
Councilman Malahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman, for bringing this forward. Abigail, your dad is a good guy. All right, we're going to move on now.
All right, now I have to move on to real business. So you guys are welcome to stay. You guys are welcome to leave. Usually this is the exciting part when everyone just starts walking out the door.
Mark's already fallen asleep.
I know,
so-
he's been asleep. Moving on, we have resolution number 236, award of plenary retail consumption license with conditions to Majichi Hospitality LLC. Motion.
Motion by Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council McGowan. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Malahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution Number 244. This is authorizing a grant application to BMed Gateway Fund for the 2023 Employee Wellness and Awareness Program and appointing a Borough Wellness Ambassador. Motion.
Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council McGowan. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Consent agenda. All items authorized to be consent by the council will be enacted by one motion. These items are routine in nature. Motion.
Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley.
Or not.
It's like a really bad concert.
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. You guys can really leave if you want to.
We're giving you the opportunity.
All right, actually, before we move on,
Had some nice comments to say, so they may want to say.
wait, Mike, before we move on, can we get a picture with the council, and if you're up for it? Have the council come down to the dais?
Sure.
Or in front of it?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, we're still in the middle of a meeting. You got the kids? You got the kids? You need a chair? We can get one. No, we gotta get him a chair. Well, I don't blame him. Does he have a chair or does he need one? Okay. Don't fall off the stool.
It's our future mayor.
I know, absolutely. It's a great picture.
Merry Christmas, guys. Happy New Year, great holidays for
We
everybody.
gotta finish the meeting. JB, we gotta finish the meeting.
Come back home.
Just have a seat.
All right, we can wait. We can give it a minute. All right, we're going to move on to Finance. Councilwoman McGowan.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to move Resolution Number 237, authorizing the payment of January 5, 2023 payroll prior to the approval of the fiscal year 2023 temporary budget. Motion.
Thank you, Councilwoman. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Guzman. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Next, I'd like to move Resolution Number 238, authorizing the tax collector to make a correction of payments that were intended for Block 152, Lot 25, COOBB, but misdirected to the tax account for Block 152, Lot 25, COOA4. Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman McGowan. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, the only thing I'll add is that this was not an error of the town, it was an error of the bank. And Bob and tax office corrected it, so this had nothing to do with us. May I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Next is Resolution Number 239, canceling an outstanding check payee, Carol Tyler. Motion.
Motion by Councilman McGowan. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Guzman. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Next is Resolution Number 243, authorizing the transfer of funds. Motion.
Motion by Councilman McGowan. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Mayor, finally, I just want to take a few moments to acknowledge my two council colleagues in tonight's meeting, Mark Goldsack and Tom Malahy. I have had the privilege of serving with them for 6 years out of my 8 years currently sitting up here. And if my math is correct, that means there's been a minimum of 144 meetings that we have sat around a table discussing the people's business. A couple highlights. I can tell you certainly that when we started this with the two of you 6 years ago, we never anticipated a pandemic. We never anticipated having to ask one of our very own to step up as an acting mayor, Mark, while the mayor was healing and getting better. That was a lot to ask, and you did it without hesitation. You took it seriously. You worked really hard. You moved some of the most aggressive things that we've moved as a borough in the last 6 years, and you did it with grace. I can't say that about a lot of folks, but I can say that about you. And I have been privileged to sit on this side of the dais with you. And it used to be around a much smaller table in the red room, but I'm glad we've grown up and we're in the big room now. And I don't know that there'll ever be another you. And I will miss you immensely. But I get to see you all the time. I just will get to miss these moments. Tommy, most people do not know that you were the first person I went to when I wanted to move forward with Kid Spot. And I didn't know who to ask. I had no experience in redesigning or redeveloping a playground. And I mentioned it to you, and you just put your arms around this project. I don't think people knew how involved you were. Even though we tried telling folks, I don't think they understand how serious you took the inclusion of all the children in this community. Every time we talked about fields, every time we talked about, athletics because it was what you do as your job, but they didn't understand the personal pride that you took in the fact that people would call you or see you on the street and that kids knew you by name. You weren't just some person that moved policy. You cared deeply about every one of these children. You cared deeply about my own, and you made sure there was a place for them to play. I will never, ever forget that. I don't know that there ever will be somebody who could fill your shoes, or quite frankly, would pick out the kind of shoes that you wear. And I can say with 100% certainty that your footprint literally will be in the rubber matting of Kids Spot forever. And that'll be a joke you and I will share probably for a really, really long time. Most importantly, what I want to say to the residents of Rutherford that are listening or reading this, and most importantly, to my colleagues up here. This is a tough job. Some days are really, really hard. There were moments that we looked at each other in disbelief. We make the joke, you can't make this up, but I really mean, I don't think that we could have scripted this, and I definitely know we didn't think about this when you all started this journey. But I would be remiss if I didn't remind the residents of this borough how very lucky we were that you raised your hand to do this, that you took not one oath but two as council members, that you gave up your time with your families and your friends for the betterment of the place that you call home. I think you are both amazing humans. I will miss being up here and governing with you deeply. And on behalf of your colleagues, and definitely on behalf of the residents of this town, thank you. Thank you for your personal sacrifice, and most importantly, just thank you for being you.
Anybody else from the council?
They'll wait till their assignments.
We're going to move on.
I think I'm up. Thank you, Mayor. Next up, I have Resolution Number 241, authorizing the award of non-fair and open contracts to Nick's Towing Service Incorporated. Motion.
Motion by Councilman Malay. Any, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Guzman. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
That's all I have under my committee, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Guzman?
Thank you very much, Mayor. First off, before I get to my committee reports, I'll go on to our resolutions. First up, I have Resolution Number 234, authorizing the award of non-fair and open contracts to Make Company. Motion.
Motion by Councilman Guzman. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman McGowan. Any questions or comments by the council? This is a serious meeting, people. Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes. Moving on, Resolution Number 240, authorizing the award of non-fair open contracts to Hudson Tire Exchange. Motion.
Motion by Councilman Guzman. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Resolution Number 242, authorizing the award of non-fair open contracts to Northeast Sweepers and Rentals, Inc. Motion.
Motion by Councilman Guzman. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Anything else, sir?
Absolutely. I had a lot to say prior to you clearing the room. Thank you very much.
That's how I roll.
So I was actually trying to beat Councilwoman McGowan's record on
Not gonna
speaks.
happen.
But since the room is now cleared, I'll bring it back to a Councilman Guzman speech.
Hey, Bob, do we have a time limit on council members, or?
5 minutes.
Or less. First off, I want to thank Councilman Goldsack and Malahy. I truly am sad to see you guys go. A lot of good times with you guys, a lot of learning I've done from the two of you. I truly believe that I'm a better councilman and able to serve the public better because of the two of you. You will be missed. I'll leave with some famous words that we've said throughout the years together as you gather up and depart and move on to better things for your families. What could possibly go wrong? But I truly do appreciate our friendship that has grown and wish you guys nothing but the best. I know you're not going anywhere far, so I'll be seeing you around. Thank you for all you've done for us and the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Okay, moving on. I'd like to also take a moment to thank the Sheridan family for their contributions to the community, for coming forth today with their beautiful story of their father. And it's times like these that we always talk about moving Rutherford forward, moving on. It's important that we take a step back and do remember the core residents that are the fabric of our community and have helped create the community that we all call home today. So it's really nice that we are able to take a step back and recognize these important residents of our community. Dr. Jones, I know that you're not here right now, but thank you for your, where? You switched seats on me. Thank you very much for your very kind comments, and I wish you nothing but the best holidays. Thank you. Moving forward, I'd like to talk to you about the Claris Tunnel for a little bit. If you haven't noticed, Claris Tunnel has undergone in the past 7-8 weeks, has undergone a rehabilitation. I'm happy to say that today, just before Christmas, the tunnel was open, and wow, it is impressive. There's a lot of hands that went into making this happen. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our mayor for asking me and believing in me to bring my vision to the rehab of the tunnel and for all his support in helping me get this done. Our Borough Administrator, Bob Kakaleski, I'd like to thank you for all you've done in keeping this in motion and making sure I was in the loop at every step of the way. Rose and Guanti, I cannot thank you enough for keeping the details together and keeping the gavel hitting the mat when things were not to the vision that we all talked about. I really thank you for all the hard work and the many, many hours that you put in to make sure that the end result was very, very pleasurable for the residents. Our Rutherford Communications Director, Kim Bogosian, many, many hours were spent with me trying to create the new logo for the borough. A lot of her trying to get my vision out of my head and putting it to paper. I can't thank you enough for all the time that you put in with me and helping me create the logo and really bringing your skills to the table and making sure that this was done properly. I thank you very much. I'd also like to thank, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but our borough architect, Chair Facilla, for managing a project well done. Much appreciated all your time and effort. Lexel Management Services under the direction of Salvatore Piazza. Again, a job well done, much appreciated. Chief Russo, I'd like to thank you for your guidance on the security for the tunnel, and Goldtie for the IT and security equipment and services that they performed. The tunnel now is very vibrant, and when you walk in, you'll see security cameras, you'll see message boards now there. It's very clean, very, very beautiful. It looks what Rutherford, when you're walking through, you're really going to feel like you are in Rutherford. But last but not least, our local artist, Jennifer Gonzalez, what an amazing job on the mural she's done. She not only just decided to paint, she also brought a story that will be told in a little at the grand opening of why she selected certain trees to be painted on the mural. She really studied the project and really decided at the end of the day she was not going to settle for anything less. She wanted to make sure that we had the best. So I can't thank her enough for her gift to Rutherford. I think I have everybody here, and if I haven't said a thank you to someone, I'll get them on the back end. Just so the public knows, there will be a grand opening on this Thursday at 12 o'clock. So if you'd like to come on down to the tunnel, please come on down. Much appreciated. Mayor, I'm under Stephanie's time, so.
No, not even close. Councilman
A new
Coakley.
year is upon us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just take a quick moment.
Ray
to-
just drive you out of here, Tommy? Councilman.
Thank you, sir. I just want to take a quick moment as we had accepted the resignation of Anthony Bruno from Engine Company 3 under consent agenda items. I just want to thank Mr. Bruno for his 5 years of service, as well as his family. As I've stated from the jump as the fire commissioner, that no one does that job alone. We wish Mr. Bruno all the best in his next chapter. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Roberson's not here. Second. So there's nothing on our agenda, so nobody has to speak to anything, correct, Missy? Council President, Vilsack. Do you want Mark to handle this, or are you good?
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing on my agenda to report. Only just want to thank all of my council colleagues for their kind words tonight. It's funny that I'm making the speech with Tom in the bathroom. Right? I'm just trying to think of the lead in here, just to give him a few minutes to get out, You think about, I've actually been doing some thinking about what this moment, this night is going to look like after 6 years of serving the borough. Thank you for coming back. But I thought I was going to be a lot sadder than I am. And it's not for the reasons why everyone who's listening or everyone out in the public may think. It's not that I'm happy to go. Truly, it is bittersweet because it has been a tremendous 6 years. But the part of the leaving that was bothering me so much was the camaraderie that I'm going to miss in sitting up here with all of you. And I truly do believe that this council is the best council that I've had the opportunity to serve with. And this administration is the best administration that I've had the opportunity to serve under in my 6 years up here. But I'm not upset. I'm not sad because the friendships that we formed over the past 6 years will outlast, this place, these positions, and that keeps me comforted and keeps me happy. But I will say, first and foremost, just thank you to my wife. It's been a hell of a ride. I couldn't have done it without you, and now starts a new chapter for us and for our family, and I'm happy the two of you are sitting up here with me as I'm going through this, because you weren't even alive when we started this journey, and look at us 6 years later, here you are. But it truly has been a pleasure, and Tom, what a great start, or what a great end to such an awkward start. Had no idea who the hell either of us was, met outside of a house and said, hey, I think we're running together, and here we are 6 years, and a lot of hard-fought elections later, and I would not have rather gone through it with anyone but you. You made me a better candidate, you made me a better councilman, and I truly do appreciate your friendship and everything we've been able to accomplish together, so thank you for everything. And
Thank you, same here.
looking forward to seeing what all of you are going to accomplish in the years to come. Mayor Nunziato, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve under you. It was big shoes to fill when you had to step away and take care of yourself, but I hope we did you proud, and I know you're going to continue to do this community proud, because you truly are a great mayor with a great heart and a great vision for what this town can be. So thank you for everything you've done, and thank you for your friendship over the past 6 years.
Thank you, Council President. Though I do not expect you or Tommy to go far, so I know that you guys will stay with us as we move forward. We're going to move on to my report, and then I'll get really sappy at the end. I'm calling for a special meeting December 30th, 2022. at 1:30 PM. I'd ask for council consent.
Motion.
I might be
Motion by
busy 100 years from now.
What do you guys
1,000,
care?
right?
Who
It's
cares?
1,000 years.
Mark can reiterate that in 20 years when he becomes mayor.
That's 1,000 years.
Motion by Council President, may I have a
Second.
second? Second by Council McGowan. I'm sorry, attorneys. I'll defer to my attorney, sir. .3032, we all know is a mistake. I'm allowed to call for a special meeting. Is he allowed to speak?
It's not a big deal.
There is a second here of citizens. You can come up at that point and state your cause. Again, motion by Council President, may I have a second? Second by Council McGowan. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, the swearing-in ceremony for police personnel, December 30th, 2022 at 2 PM. Again,
I make a motion.
motion by Councilman Malay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Next item I have is the 2023 Professional Service Committees that I put forth through the Borough Clerk. I'd ask for council consent.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman McGowan, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Guzman. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack?
Abstain.
Councilman Leahy?
Abstain.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Actually, I'll move through it and then I'll come back. Appointments, Casper Godzak, we need to reappoint him for the 2023 as a special law enforcement officer, Class 1, in accordance with the rules and regulations of the State of New Jersey Civil Service Commission. I'd ask for council consent.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Malay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, I'd ask for roll call.
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, I have Dominic Ferry, C3 Collection Systems Operator for 2023 at the annual rate of $4,500. I'd ask for council consent.
Motion.
Motion by Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Guzman. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Goldsack? Yes. Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Next up, I'd ask for council consent regarding the attached list of crossing guards for 2023. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Malay. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Guzman. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
So, as the mayor that came into COVID with an incredible team, Tommy and Mark, you guys were so instrumental in keeping this town alive and surviving it, to the point where surrounding communities were calling us to ask us for help. The time that we all put in, everybody up here put in, the personal pain we all suffered with our families for being here for 16 hours a day, some days, 7 days a week, for sure. I have nothing from nothing other than respect and love for you both. Character is built. It's not earned. You know your character when you're growing up. You haven't lost it. You've kept the traditions and values of your families because that's what you brought to the table, just as everybody else. I have nothing but love and respect for you two, and I will never forget what you've done for me. And I remember the day that we always used to say it, what could possibly go wrong? And everything always did, but we were there to fix it. I still remember the day when the doctor called me into the office and I was walking up Park Ave with Mark after we just left the governor at the bakery. And Mark goes, just go to the doctors, what could be wrong? Brain tumor. I think you were a hell of a mayor. I think you were a hell of a council president. And I don't like to use the word battle, but whatever we went into together, I would not have done it or never would want to do it again without you. So I truly appreciate the two of you. And again, you're not going anywhere. You'll always be around. I would hope that you'd still be here from council and support. So I appreciate you both beyond anything you could possibly imagine. Thank you. We have no old business, no new business, no proclamations at this time. We're going to open it up to the second hearing of citizens. Anybody wishing to speak, please come up to the microphone. Keep your comments to agenda items and agenda items only. Please state your name and address and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. You actually moving up front, Mr. Zor?
Is that on now? It is? Okay, thank you. David Labarino, 423 Stuyvesant Avenue. I believe I'm allowed a point of order, but now that it's open public meeting time, as I understand, there's going to be a meeting that, oh, they told me this was on. Is this on? All right. Okay, maybe I can't get much closer, but David Labarino, 423 Stuyvesant Avenue. I believe I'm allowed a point of order, but now that we're having this public session that someone can speak, I see that we've called the meeting for Friday. The question that I had, though, was what the meeting would be about. The only notice downstairs says that there's 4 ordinances that will be acted on. So if maybe you could provide the public with some information about that, that would probably be good, since currently there's 0 information about what that might be about. So thank you.
I would be more than honored to tell you what it's about. Mr. Zor?
See, this is going to take almost as long as walking from the back. Anyway, I just have I have to say for the record, I didn't hear any of what Councilwoman McGowan said about, in response to my original presentation. But I think that, for the record, we really need to know a couple of things about the ordinance that's being passed for the liquor license. And it actually shows that the council's disregard for the will of the people and the interests of local restaurant owners. The county certified election report showed that only 4 in 10 people that showed up at the polls favored ending the borough's long-standing reputation as a dry town. And for all that's been said about helping local businesses, going for the big bucks from the out-of-town operators doesn't seem to be the right thing. And I think that this ordinance will ultimately wind up being eternally relegated to the scrap heap of bad and anti-competitive ideas, because I can't imagine that any of these normal, the local family-type restaurants are going to be able to afford the $300,000 price tag, or even $150,000 price tag, to put a bar in their facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zor. I'm sorry, sir, could you just pull the microphone back a little, just so we don't get the... Please state your name and address and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, and keep it to what's on the agenda. At this point, it's a second reading.
I was going to talk about the song. I'm here for my name's Frank Marson.
I'm sorry. I apologize, sir, but you're not allowed to speak. On set, you should have been here for first reading. But the borough's willing to let, the borough attorney was willing to let you speak. So, sir, you can speak.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Frank Marsico, 164 Mortimer Avenue. I'm here for three reasons. One, the sign is still there at the high school, the home of the Bulldog sign that I spoke about at the previous meeting. The second reason is my objection to the sign. I don't want to come across as somebody patting myself on the back, but I'm not uneducated in the world of the visual arts and the sign arts. Councilman Guzman and I have discussed briefly that we had some things in common. And in fact, the tunnel, part of it is in one of my oil paintings that I've just finished. In any event, my background, just so you know, I'm qualified. You don't send a plumber to do the electrician's work. You don't send the electrician to do the carpenter's work. My thing is, I've been involved in the visual arts all my life. I'm a graduate of NYU Tisch, Fine Arts, Off-Broadway, Scenic and Lighting Design. I'm a member of the American Society of Lighting Directors out in Hollywood. I'm a member of the Illuminating Engineering Society in New York and nationwide. I'm a member, I wrote the chapter in the Society of Broadcast Engineer on studio lighting, stage lighting. I worked for one of the few people in a small company to work for the architect of the Capitol. And when you see the White House, the briefing room, that's my lighting, that's lighting them. I introduced LED lighting to Washington, D.C. for broadcast purposes and recording purposes. And I lit the Senate hearing room, the Senate chambers, and parts of the House of Representatives and the Congressional Visitor Center. I taught, I've lectured around North and South America about arts in general and the lighting in particular about it, but also being a painter and a sculptor, I had other things I brought to that. And I'm trying to see what else is in here. CBS, NBC, ABC, I worked for all of them and did lighting and so forth. My point being that when I brought up the fact that that sign was ugly to the Board of Education, they said it's a matter of taste, personal taste. Well, no, it's not. It's a public sign. It's a sign to the public. I mean, I walked through the hall down on the first floor. Nowhere on the photographs do I see anything resembling a sign of that scale and size. As we said, it doesn't fit Rutherford. It does not fit in here as far as an aesthetic goes. The font they chose has nothing to do with any of the other signage at any of the other schools. It's a disjointed piece that's offensive, and it is ugly. We can all agree the Mona Lisa is beautiful, but a lot of people also agree what's ugly, and this sign is ugly. And so we implore you to please take action on this, which leads me to my other reason I'm here. Since, as a citizen, speaking to you, I appreciate that we can come and speak to you, but I also mentioned in my notes for a hopeful to start a thing called Residentscape, much like there is Streetscape. Streetscape puts the clamps down on what can and cannot be visually put on the streets of Rutherford. But as a resident, I had nowhere to go. I went to a Board of Ed meeting. No idea. Obviously, I don't know all the rules and regulations, but I'm a happy resident here, and we love living in Rutherford. And thank you all for your service. But the point being that if you even make it a subcommittee of the streetscape, residents need a place to go to talk and vent and say, hey, this isn't right, or this is a good idea. It's like I'm part of the New Jersey film community in a big way. I'm friends with the film commissioner. I would like to talk to the high school about starting some kind of program because we can get them into the film commission, and it's booming. Netflix just closed on the deal for the Monmouth, what's that called? The Monmouth? The Fort Monmouth. They're putting in 14 studios. I have friends that are involved in that. In any event, there's many things as citizens we have to offer to the town that we don't have nowhere to go with it. I'm not saying Residentscape is the answer, but I'm suggesting that as a starting point, and it has to do with neighbors, and our neighbor is the high school, and they put this ugly thing up that has to go down. It's a bad example to set for the town. It's a horrible example to feel helpless, and I'll let other people know, I mean, they do know, that you just have nowhere to go, okay? Thank you.
Guzman about this. I'm sorry, I didn't call you with the holidays and all, but see, one of the issues here is this, is that the Board of Ed is autonomous from the council. We don't have control over the Board of Ed. So let me just go further. And when it comes to zoning, with regard to zoning and planning with regard to the Board of Ed, we have no control over them as well. The State Board of Education runs the show when it comes to zoning regarding boards of ed. They come to the board for just what's called a cursory review. If there's an objection or a complaint, you have to write the letter down to the State Department of Education, and then they decide ultimately what goes on. Now, I know from speaking to everyone after I met you the last time, that a lot of the council, practically all of the council understands your concern and understands your comments and what you have to say. And aside from these things you told us about it yourself, which is fascinating, and I would think that the Board of Ed would grab you in 2 seconds and start a program over there across the street, because that would be amazing for those kids. But, we're still trying to work on things, but we don't have the authority to just pass a law or an ordinance when it comes to the Board of Ed. So that's what we're up against right now, but I don't want you to think that we don't hear you and what you're saying. And ultimately, if something can be done, we're hoping that we can see what, they can do.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the effort of your time and so forth, but understand that we run the borough of Rutherford, you and citizens, I hope. We don't. So my being here is pointless.
Well, we can't tell the Board of Ed what to do. In fact, other than, even with regard to the Planning Board and Zoning Board, they're autonomous bodies. We don't control them either, except for who we appoint and what laws we pass. But with the Board of Ed, we don't have that authority. So our hands are very much tied to try to address your concern. I just want you to understand how the law shapes up on
I
this.
do understand that. The Board of Ed Mr. Hurley, Superintendent Hurley conveyed that to me in some ways. And I was told that there was the Department of Education, but I can't pay where else do I pay my taxes? And I pay them here to the borough.
All right, I'm sorry, sir, but we have to stop. Listen, we agree with you. Councilman Guzman wants to start a broader program looking at the house. Look, there's some houses, they have 5,000 lights on them. So streetscape, yes, it should be expanded. We don't have the authority over the Board of Ed. We just don't. That's a state thing. As much as it frustrates a lot of us up here, we don't have that authority.
I appreciate that.
And we feel it, trust me. Ray's had everybody's ear since he spoke to you. And we're not disagreeing with you. Yes, would I like the rules changed? Yes, they're not. Until that day comes, we're pigeonholed.
We can't affect that change.
Only the Board of Ed, and those are the people that you can.
I mean, it can't go, it's not going anywhere, but the idea is it's in a residential zone. It should have been zoned as a school zone. But you're saying the Board of Ed names their own zones?
No, this was done 100 years ago. That's the way the state does it. It's not, it's, the state board is the only one you could petition for this. I apologize.
Okay. Thank again for all your service, and someday we'll run our own town. Thank you.
Thank you. And unfortunately, I apologize. So, Mr. LeBruno, I'll let the council comment unless anybody wants to defer to me. So, we did nothing wrong, sir. We submitted to the newspaper, like we do by law, they failed to print. So we have to call a special meeting because it wasn't advertised for 10 days. That's it. This is not a back and forth. If you'd like to speak to the attorneys after the meeting, that's great. Okay, we're going to move on now. Ordinances on second read. Councilman Leahy.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I have an ordinance amending Chapter 126, prohibited parking on Danielson Avenue. I'd like to ask Missy to read the ordinance by title only.
Motion by Councilman Leahy. May I have a second?
Second.
An ordinance to amend and revise Chapter 126 Vehicles and Traffic of the Borough Code of the Borough of Rutherford.
Thank you. I make a motion to move the ordinance be passed on second reading according to law.
Motion by Councilman Lee, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call? I'm sorry, now we're going to open this up to the public as well for this subject matter only. Anybody wishing to comment or speak, please come up to the microphone. Keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Seeing none, we'll move on. Missy?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have an ordinance amending the municipal prosecutor salary ordinance. I'd like to ask Missy to read the ordinance by title only.
An ordinance to amend and supplement an ordinance entitled, an ordinance regulating the employment, tenure, and discharge of certain officers and employees of the Borough of Rutherford under the provisions of a Civil Service Act of New Jersey, 3630-22, adopted on November 28, 2022.
Thank you. I make a motion to move the ordinance be passed on second reading according to law.
Motion by Councilman Lay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to open up again. Any residents wishing to speak on this subject matter only? Seeing none, Missy?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Leahy. Council President?
Thank you, Mayor. We have an ordinance regarding alcoholic beverages. I'd like to ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title only.
An ordinance to amend and revise Chapter 7 entitled Alcoholic Beverages of the Borough Code of the Borough of Rutherford.
I'd like to make a motion that the ordinance be passed on second reading and advertised according to law.
Motion by Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. I'm now going to open it up to the public. If anybody wishes to speak to this subject and this subject matter only, please come to the microphone. Seeing none, may I have a roll call? I'm sorry, now I'll open up to the council. Seeing none. Missy?
Councilman Goldsack?
Yes.
Councilman Leahy?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Thank you. Seeing nothing else? Motion to end the meeting?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Have a great night.